What's going on? What's going on, my YouTube peoples? This is your boy, the Surreal Wonder, once again, trying to think about some things and speak on some things that need to be spoken. One of them is economic independence. Everybody's trying to get from under the boot heel of the government, and everybody kind of realize what the government's about at this point with your bailouts, with your cover-ups about the BP oil spill. I mean, do you really think they're telling us the truth? Because, I mean, first they're 10,000 barrels leaking a day, then there's 20,000 barrels leaking a day, then there's 40,000 barrels leaking a day, then there's 50,000 barrels leaking a day, and you can't go anywhere near the scene to take your pictures. Oh, I guess that's normal. Same thing with that Gaza Flotilla. I guess that's normal that the people in Gaza can't have crayons, ginger, building materials for wood, and the representative just made this very clear. They told, I can't believe that this motherfucker just said, well, they're getting their materials from underground anyway, and we're bringing in 100 trucks a day. Well, if that's the case, why are you sneering at folk that wants to bring in coloring books and crayons, such as Cythia McKinney, who got, involved in a flotilla incident last year, who was detained for 7 days in an Israeli prison, with the dirt floors and the jeers and the, might be a little abusive to you. Nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about the fact that they killed 19 motherfuckers on that flotilla. And they were not armed. Check it out. Please, I'll provide links for you. But we all know that there's things in the government that's just engineered for the richer folk against the poorer folk. And one of the things that nobody even dares to talk about because it affects just so many people is a 40-hour work week, a 40, 50-hour work week. How can you affect major change in a major way to be respected by your Congress people if you're working for 40 hours and then you commute to your job another 10 hours? Matter of fact, let's just cut that in half. Typical American commute is like half an hour. So let's just say, just round it up to 5 hours, and then you have to raise some kids, live a family life. So how much more hours is that? How much time does that really grant you to write a congressman? How much time does that really grant you to get out there with a picket sign? How much time does it really grant you to even get out there on a gun range and try to organize a militia type of deal, if that was your preference? See, nobody even talks about how there are certain things in society and in the government meant to limit your political power. When you give a guy a 40-hour work week and bend his back with debts, such as your college and your health debt, because typically, how much debt does a typical American hold? Hey man, I'll help you out. Typical American holds pretty much $5,000 debt per person. So you have that debt weighing you down, and you have to work a 40-hour work week, because if you don't, you're something less than a man out there. You don't have a full-time job. People look at you funny. And from a societal aspect of, having that title that comes with that 40-hour work week and, comes with all that good stuff, it really limits your ability to have a change on your neighborhood and your local geography. Do you think that's a coincidence out there? Do you really think that nobody even thought about this? They didn't think about that when they put the fluoride in the water, which is originated in the gulags, because it seemed to pacify the Jewish folk in their less than desirable conditions. And they took to the ghetto a little bit better than those who didn't get the fluoride in their water. Do you know how much hormones and antidepressants are in the water? How about, matter of fact, I'm going to put all these links up there. This is not happening. Not one doesn't link to another. These things are meant to shut you up. These things are meant to limit what you can do. Do you know, I was looking on Wikipedia and just trying to see what everybody's making. Not because I have some penis envy. Oh, my check is bigger than his check shit. No. It's just that you see it on TV, you see your neighbors and your peers, they all seem to be doing so well. When a typical American pretty much makes $40,000 and 42% of the American households bring in $50,000, 20% of the American households bring in less than $20,000. That's below poverty line. That's 1/5 of America. And only 10% of Americans make above $75,000. So generally, we're not doing too well financially. So he who has the goal will make the rules. It's not a coincidence that it's like this. It's not a coincidence that we're taught in the schools to go and get a great job and be somebody's middle management and be a doctor, be a lawyer in somebody's firm, and entrepreneurship is not really encouraged in the school system. That's something you have to go and find out for yourself. And the only reason why I'm speaking about this college thing is because a lot of my peers have gone to college and they find themselves in a very desperate place right now. They're searching for jobs, and those who've had those jobs from college education are now out of a job because they're doing massive layoffs everywhere across the country. Now, these numbers that I just quoted to you came from a 2008, 2007, 2005 census. Are we doing better now than we were then? My point is, if those are the numbers then, how much of us are living in the poverty line now? Barely making. How much of the percentage of the households are bringing in less than $50,000? Because when you think about the average American household, it's got 4 people in it. 4 people for $50,000 is a small slice of that pie you're dividing between your family. This is tied directly into your political power. The game is to keep you broke, beaten with debts, and your bent back is doubled over with your labor just pursuing your daily bread. So I just wanted to put that out here, and I want you to think about some things that's always kind of sneered upon. We all got to get ourselves a plan B. Because if you're one of the 80% of the people that I'm talking to, times are getting a little tight. You find yourself not having as much luxuries as you have. You find yourself sacrificing. And if things were tight before, you might find yourself in a very, very rugged place. I recommend your plan B be selling. Selling what? Selling whatever you're into. Because it can only help. It's helping me. And that's just from the heart, man. I'm not trying to be anybody's financial advisor, but I know that if you add $1,000 worth of, monies on what you're making, it's a good thing. If you add $50 on what you're making, it's a good thing. Get your plan B together, because there is no job security anymore. That is the frankest way I can say it. If you hear my voice and you know some cats that was working in a factory for 20 years, think about their job security and think about yours with the technological advances that we see every day and every year. Because a lot of those jobs are going to get phased out, and a lot of those people are going to be paid less, and there's going to be a lot less of those people because it's just cheaper to get a machine to do your job. It's cheaper to pay somebody off the street that has half your qualifications and have you train them so they can be paid half your wage. And then the cycle repeats itself whenever there's an economic downturn. You get that guy that you taught and, get him to train his replacement. I'm lying? I'm full of shit? Nah. We just gotta think about society as it is today, not as it was. Because going to college and being that guy for that company in middle management is not a sure way to get your success. It's not even a secure job anymore. What happened to your 401k with this economic downturn? Think about it. Is there really any more, golden take care of you packages for the guy that's been working for 30 years all his life for a company? How much of that do you see? Is it less and less, or is it more and more? Think about this, people. I'm just trying to rattle your cage to what's really real out there. And what's going on, everybody, not what you see on TV. Fuck all those nice cars that you see driving down the block, even if you live in the suburbs. Typically, all across the board, $40,000 generally. And if you're a person of color, it's considerably less. So get your plan B on. Y'all be blessed.